even just now as we're playing it, I see a lot of people just sort of being conservative and then adding this like big space before the next note. Verses. What my teacher in college would describe as a river of chocolate. Thick, sweet, continuous. Yeah, we're changing. We want to change bows. We want to change notes together, but we don't need gaps in that sound. We want the river to keep flowing. Here we are at the bottom of that scale again. Place yourselves, set yourselves up. Tall postures so you have access to the full breadth and the full weight of your arm. 1, 2, ready, and. melody, and we all have established that we know what the melody is. And at number 1, the melody was as important as all of the other parts, or rather, all the other parts felt as important as the melody. So it would be hard as a listener who didn't know the melody to tell what the most important thing was. If you have the melody at number 1, could you play right at number 1? Dee da da dee 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 dee. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Melody ready, go. Use the first violins as well. Good. Now, if you don't have the melody, could you play? Here's number 1, and keep it in the background, a subtler texture. 1, 2, 3, ready, and done. Great. How about just if you have 8th notes? Here's number 1, only where you've got 8th notes. So 1, 2, 3, ready, and go. Viola, viola, viola. Yeah, because then the viola does.
I thought you just meant that people started with it.
Nope, then we got it. So you
I was
joined in
just
at the end
enjoying
there.
the music.
That's okay, don't worry about that. But yeah, clarinets have got this really cool back and forth thing. First
Yeah.
bass, second, first bass,
Yeah.
viola. Okay, now can I hear the horns and trumpets, trombones and basses? Horns and trumpets, trombones and basses at number 1. A 1, 2, 3, ready, and done. Oh, yeah, that felt so balanced. And the reason I wanted to hear that is just because of the horns and trumpets. It's important that you end that half note as well. The timing of it and the volume is really good, but we need that rest so we get the boom ta, boom ta, boom ta, boom ta. The ending of that note is probably the most important part. All right, now everybody together, make sure the melody is the most important thing in the room. Here's number 1. A 1, 2, 3, ready, set, go. Yes, good. That was so much better. I don't know if I have an explanation for why, but that passage from 1 to 2 felt the most out of balance, the blurriest. And when we just played it, it was so much better, but for one overwhelming section, and there's not even 18 of you here tonight, so cellos play less there than what you just did. If we pull back just a tiny little bit, it's got a transparent texture rather than maybe that molassesy texture that we were just practicing.
Where?
At 1.
At 1.
That whole passage we just played. We also got to work on this first transition. Let's start at the very beginning again. And by first transition, I mean the measure right before number 1, just to make sure we feel really good about that. Here's measure 1, not rehearsal 1. Everybody. 1, 2, 3, measure 1, go. trying to focus on one thing, the other thing goes. And at the opening of this song, we want to both feel confident about how that bar right before number one is going to feel, look, and sound.
I'm not feeling confident about that at all.
That's why we're doing it again. And we want to be not just confident about how that's going to go, but aware of the fact that we might have to modify our volume based on the needs of the ensemble balance at number one. Here's the beginning again. But if you're not confident about that, remember the fermata has a cutoff which sets the tempo. Fermata, ba-da-dee-da-da.
That's the tempo. It's like I
Yep.
don't know how long to make those quarter notes yet.
It's tricky to trust yourself, but I don't know. Sing with me. Ready? You and me. Just the two
Oh,
of us.
you don't.
Ready?
Okay.
This is the fermata. Oh, you just sang the exact tempo that I
Okay.
wanted you to. It's
Okay.
like
Okay.
a psychic connection. And then it's just trusting your playing to do what your voice knows already how to do.
Okay.
Yeah, you just nailed it.
Yeah, you just did what I was gonna ask, but it's helpful to see you're physically what you're doing, where, so we, the second note is the raise up.
Mhm. Yeah. In fact, Corey, you sing it with me. Ready? Here's the fermata. Ba, ba-da-dee-da-da. Let's try that again. So here's the fermata. Ba, ba-da-dee-da-da. Thanks for backing him up. Not to put anybody on the spot, but a lot of times vocally we're better at these things than when we put the weird buttons and keys and bows in front of us. We stop trusting what we actually already kind of feel if we were just to sing. Like, nope, got to do the math problems. Like, fourth finger down.
It's the oh what?
Yeah, it's tricky. Did you have another question? Oh.
No, you just have to say what you're gonna do with your hands.
Yeah. Magic. And now a bunny. Okay, here's the beginning again.
That was funny.
I was just.
That was unexpected.
I don't, how those random things like show up in your Instagram reels or whatever. I was just watching highlights of Robin Williams on Whose Line Is It Anyways?
Oh my God.
And he referenced a dead bunny. They're like, and now that we've polled the audience, they put some ideas in a hat, and we're going to poll them out. It's like, oh yes, a dead bunny. What's that doing in there? What a beautiful man. All right, here we are. Speaking of, I just flew. I was gone last week with my high school orchestra. We went to New York. We had a big I'm so tired. But on the way back, this is Sunday, I'm flying back, and I watched the movie Conclave.
Oh, that's funny.
Now you know what we're doing.
And then, like,
That's what they're
3
going
hours
for.
later,
You
the
killed the
boat
boat.
passes away. I did nothing to do with it. Okay, here's the beginning again.
Where are we? What are we doing?
Measure one.
The beginning.
1, 2, 3, ready, and first is the brass playing this new rhythm, all of the brass together. And the second is the violins and violas playing a counter melody that hasn't been heard yet. Can I hear the brass right at 3? Oh, 1, 2, 3, ready, and down. Yeah, just hearing each other pulled out of the texture, you start to sound more like each other. The staccatos start to have exactly the same length and duration. So just know that you're all part of the same team. Violins and violas, can you play this lovely counter melody at 3? And I talked a lot about balance a second ago, but because this is a counter melody, and because the winds project just really, really well, the winds have the melody there, this can be nice and full because it won't get in the way of that melody. The melody's an octave and a bit above you. Here's the counter melody at 3. A 1, 2, 3, really thick and. And then you start to actually play the melody with those 2 tenuto notes. But everything that you just played, I mean, the woodwinds here, Beyonce, and you all, the backup singers. Maybe that was the wrong person. Or it's like.
Are we Justin Timberlake and Andy Samberg?
I
Because
mean,
they were the backup.
yeah, there we go. Or literally Oklahoma, I suppose. That would work too. I was thinking Sound of Music, but I was like, oh yeah, if we're going musicals, we could just do this musical. Anyways, you're the backup singers that give the words behind whatever the lead character's doing. And the lead character's the flutes, and the clarinets, and the soprano saxophone, if we had one. That's another part that's apparently scored. This has got a sax part. Here's number 3, right on it, everybody. Melody, counter melody, and the chipper little ba 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 ba. Right at 3. 1, 2, 3, ready, forte. First clarinet and flutes. We do need less of you there. Dotty, dotty, dotty. And that ending bit, you've got to memorize the last 2 bars before 5. Ba-dee, dotty, 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 do. It's all going to be up here in the magic hat. And if you're looking at it, you'll all play it exactly the same way. Let's just play with everybody though. Here's number 4 again. Violins have the melody. We want to hear more of that. We don't want to overwhelm with that. And then memorize those last 2 bars. Boom! 5 is double forte. Here's number 4, everybody. 4, 2, 3, ready, and up. Yes. Okay. So the 2 measures before 5 are going to be in 3 and slower. And that's the same as what you have written the 2 bars before 1 bars before 2. So I think it's just missing in the part right before 5, but it's the same music, and I'm going to do it the same with the same idea. It's the same musical idea, it's a different orchestration. Here's number 4 again. Oh, 1, 2, 3, ready, and. We got to do something. Well, you want to try it on this?
They're here today.
Yeah. I think it's got to be this one. What is that last chord? Is it F? Yeah, do this. Use this. Let's try that so everybody can hear the little bells at the end there. Nice job. I love that double forte. It felt full without being harsh. At 6, everyone, don't diminuendo until you see diminuendo. So 3 bars. Keep the sustain of the volume and then let it ebb a little bit before coming back to the front. Here we are at 6, everybody. I can rap slowly. Oh, and in 3. 1, 2, and 6, ready, go. Note, yeah. It says it in parentheses?
Technically 2 notes, but the bottom one's in parentheses.
I don't have that in my score. That's interesting. Maybe that's saying if you don't have the high note, play the low one. But either way, if you played that last one as an octave, I think that's a nice effect. Yeah, I like that. That's cool. And yeah, play it a little bit louder than you just did. One more time, same thing. 6. 1, 2, 3, 6, ready, and. Sound. And I'm not, I'll leave it to you as to whether it's an octave or not. I could go either way. Do it then. Okay, all right, yes?
Bowing wise, second to the last one I wrote down, but the last one, do we go up?
Oh, do we take 2 bows on the last note? I think we should just take 1 because that'll give it a natural fade.
I think that's what you said before.
Yeah, string is just 1 bow on the last note. Yeah, yeah, keep it to just 1. And I won't hold it a super long time, but it should fade, so we don't want to give it a weird shape. Okay, can we do some Beethoven?
Let's take off.
here we go, the Beethoven. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and da da.
Thank you.
Good, 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 good. Horns, we should have just one person playing. I don't care who does it. But just that opening bit, right? Oh, sure, if you want to do it for today, but by all means, if one person does it, then if it's a mistake, it sounds intentional. You know? It's like, I'm just being a little jazzy about it, right? And I'll cue you first violins, but you did come in at the correct time. It's like, ha, there we go. Could I hear you there, just the first violins? Where we enter at measure 9. 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3, ready, go. Good. Can I borrow yours for a second? So you play it beautifully, but you haven't solved the bowing problem. And I have a potential solution. Right? It sounds very weak because the bowing is so uneven. That part's terrible. What is it? It's like 95% down bow, 5% up bow, and you're supposed to just balance it out. Try this for me. See if this feels better. So I'm doing 2 downs, then 2 ups, up, down, up, down. See if that feels better. Okay? Let's try it all together. First violins. At measure 9, the first full bar is down, down, and then the next measure, up, up. 2, 1, 2, 3, ready, go. Does that feel better? Mark it in your parts. Here's what I want you to do. At measure 9, down, down. Measure 10, up, and then the up that's printed. Measure 12 is still going to be what's written. Down, up, but measure 13 is going to become down, down, and measure 14, up, up. Then measure 16 is still going to be what's printed. So there's still 2 bars that kind of suck because of the uneven bowings. But the majority of this melody now flows more, physically more naturally. Everybody, here's measure 9. Measure 9, tutti, 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3, ready, go. something at 25 that I want you to be prepared for next time we get there. At 25, some of us are going ticket, 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 bing, 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 bing. Some of us are playing a metronome, and some of us are playing a melody. Ya, da, dee, da. And we're taking as much time as we want. But there's a metronome in the background. So when we get to 25, if you're playing that big, broad, beautiful melody, you're a little bit hamstrung. Be expressive within the confines of this machine gun of violins over here. And violins can be very machine gun-like. Beginning, everybody. 2, 1, 2, 3, ready, and that was better. Can I borrow your violin for a second, just to switch things up a bit? Can I have just the violins? And let's start at 25. Just the violins at 25. I'll hover over your shoulders because I have a page turn there. 1, 2, 3, ready, violins. That's fine. Okay, start at 25. 1, 2, 3, ready, and go. Oh, you still play, yep. Yep, and that's where we were getting off, because second violins, I think we rushed a little bit through the earlier passage, and at 32, we weren't all certain where we were, right? Let's do that again. Here's 25. 1, 2, 3, ready, and up. One, two, three, four, five. Yes, yes. Because then that part that we just played was coming in like 2 bars early or 2 bars late, and I wasn't sure which it was.
Do they stop before we do? They stop 2 measures before
It
we.
alternates. It's like they play, you play, they play, you play. Yep, yep, yeah. Yes, and you see how much sound, you have such a cool instrument. But get a little lower in your bow and you'll find that tone is just so much juicier. All right, everybody, 25, please. 1, 2, 3, ready, and up. The first 3 notes is like ba, 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 ta 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 ti 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 ta 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 ta. It's gotta be with this. 1, 2, 3, ready, and up. cross it out in my part. So usually that means I didn't talk about it. Glad we talked about it, because I very strongly dislike this repeat. Those of you musicologists out there, like, they love to talk about how you have to take all the repeats in classical music because the balance, the perfect enlightenment ideal of the song just isn't there unless you take that repeat. This is such a heavily modified part. It's an arrangement. This repeat does not make enlightened sense, I don't think. So we're going to enlighten it out of here. One quick note. That was so well done. I'm so proud of you violins. Measure 50, you came in early because measure 50 is different than 52. Do you see that difference? 50 has an eighth rest, and 52 has an eighth note where that eighth rest was. So just be careful of that. We fixed it kind of right away, but you're sounding so good that little errors like that are becoming audible, which is awesome. I think that's what we call a backhanded compliment. But like, seriously though, that is sounding really nice, and this is a tricky and awkward part. You were saying how odious fourth position felt to you. Well, half of this is in second position. Like, this is an awkward part for violins, and you're kicking its butt. Very well done. Let's do it again from 32. We'll start right out in 32. And 32, ready, set, act. Second note violins of measure 50. Right on B2 or eighth note number 4. Right on the middle of that bar. Once again, from 49. 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ensemble 40, measure 40. 1, 2, 3, 40, ready, go. retake at the end of that 56, at the end of that long note. Ba dee ya da ka dee. Do a mark a retake there because we were going on, and you all have a down bow at the beginning of the next measure. Yeah, one more time from 40. That's cool. Very well done. 1, 2, 3, 40, ready, act. Caught it at 67. It's just first violins, but you have that same rhythm. The seconds aren't backing you up, but you nailed it that time. Very well done at 67. And then we have that same retake that we just marked, strings at the end of 73. And this time, the arranger gives it us in all of our parts. It tells the winds and brass to take a breath at the end of 73, tells you to do a retake. Right after 73, we got violins and violas, machine guns again. Can you start right there? Violins and violas at 74. Tick it, tick it, tick it, tick it, tick it, tick it. 1, 2, 3, ready, and up. Good. Cellos and basses, flutes and oboe. You don't have liberty of tempo there. Bum, 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 bum. It's got to be quite rhythmic. And everybody, that breath at the end of 73 sets up something that's very precise in 74. Let's take it from the double forte in 71. 71, and everybody, 71. 1, 2, 3, ready, set, and. Intense detail about the 3 people who made up the classical time period above all others. And a lot of times we talk about how, like, you know, in retrospect we sort of raise people up in importance. Like, we forgot about the chaff and we only remember the wheat or something. But one of the premises of this book is that even at the time, everyone was aware of these 3 people. Like, they were already contemporaneously famous. And that was Haydn, Mozart, and Beethoven. Like those three like defined the style. And in that order, Haydn was Mozart's teacher, and even though he passed away before Haydn, like those two sort of created this idea of style, and Beethoven was like obsessed with them. It was like, oh, they're so cool. Like I want to learn from them, and then take their ideas a little bit further in my own direction. That direction for Beethoven was the way that he used rhythm. Like he was following all these classical principles, the idea of tonality that had come in vogue, and the way that a piece was a journey from the tonic to the dominant and then back. But to make that journey interesting, he had this intense relationship with how rhythms could take a simple chord progression and make it feel fresh and new and interesting. So here, this idea of this of these arpeggios really being locked in a rhythmic way, that's intrinsic to the message that Beethoven's trying to say. It's intrinsic to making this music come alive. So be very, very aware of what feels metronomic, but is actually like liberating when it's metronomic. It feels constraining, but it's actually like the point. From that double forte, let's measure 71 again. And I'll provide some backup this time. Here's 71. A 1, 2, 3, ready, and up. Safe. You just have to feel it, even though it's not there. 71. That was excellent, by the way. 1, 2, 3, 71. But not the slower, okay? So at 95, we are going to change tempos, but we're just gonna switch one gear, and it's not a continuously variable transmission. We're just gonna move to first gear and stay there, okay? Dee da da dee da da dee da da dee da bum bee da da dee da da dee. Let's take it right on 95, everyone. Right on 95. 1 and 2 and 95. Keep it here. was ba, ba, ba. Not a breath, but a clear tonguing, a clear space. Okay, same spot, 95.
Counting to 6 again?
2, 95, ready, and. Yeah, that was a much better. And should we just do one bow on that as well in the end? We added 2? Okay, so do 2, and that last note will basically be approximately 2 bars long. It's got a fermat on it, so you can kind of feel that in advance. It'll be basically twice as long as what would have been written. Okay, great. Let's see if we can make that transition happen. This is measure 80, everybody, 80. Or rather, let's start where we had been, 71. We'll play this out once more just to feel out where we are at. And then it's time to waltz some flowers a little bit. Okay, 71. 2, a double forte and up. Yes, that's the idea. Good job. I just won't count out loud during measure 94, but everyone who's playing in measure 94 is sustaining a long note. So just look up and we'll have that slower tempo in mind and we'll nail it. Okay, waltz of the flowers. So I took my orchestra to New York and we got to play in Carnegie Hall.
Oh my God.
Pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very sweet. We had applied to this festival last year, got accepted, and got a chance to be on that hollowed stage. And this, I was glad that the students reflected this too, because there was one moment that just really got me. We did the string arrangement of Hungarian dance number 5. It was very, very cool. In the middle of that song, it like suddenly changes tempo and you go, wah, 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 ra-ta-ta-ta-ti-ya-ta, wah, wah. And as string players, it's like tiny bow and then throw the rest of it. Yo! The first one of those. Yo! Like that room was just, it made it sound so different. And, you know, like, it's high schoolers. Some of you are high schoolers, so it's like the most jaded you'll be in your whole life. Like sometimes people are like, oh yeah, it's a special place. The stage is really cool. It makes you feel different. You're like, oh sure it does. But that note, like, oh my God, it was like, that's actually quite cool. Like, whoa, that sounds different. That feels really good. Anyways, it's got me thinking about rests, making sure we feel those out so that there's room for our sound to breathe, whether we've got a stage that works for us or against us. All right, here we are at the beginning. And now we're in one. A 1, 2, 3, ready, and go. Good. Go back to measure 20. Nice job on that opening. At 20, can I hear you all play, and then everybody at 24, everybody drop out except for the cellos and basses. And timpani. All right, so everybody play at 20. Everybody play at 20, and then at 24, everybody drop out except for the cellos, basses, and timpani. Here's 20. A 1, 2, 3, ready, and go. And up. Good. You all have to connect with that for this dance to work, where you're stepping on each other's toes. And I like the way the cellos are playing that, better than everybody else at measure 20. There's a little bit on the long side. Boo, boo, bup, 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 bup. It's a happy dance, not a morose one. Here we are at 20, everybody, and play everything. But listen for the cello bass heartbeat. 20 and ready, set, go. exist, you've got to kind of feel this cha, cha, cha. You've got to feel this cellist on your shoulder, the angel, right? And on your other shoulder is maybe the gooiness of the melody. Right in the middle is the fact that both exist simultaneously. Da, ti, 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 ti. Maybe this is the bones of the piece, and even when there's a tenuto, slurred, lugubrious melody over top of those bones, this is still what's holding the thing together. Cha, 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 cha. Yeah, and I heard even like a second my language like suddenly change the way you were playing at 32 to match that. It felt so good. It felt like those bones were carrying us forward. Let's do it again from 24. We'll go right on 24. And this is about where cellos, you're not overwhelming. You're well within balance. And you could even be a tiny bit louder, and I think it wouldn't overwhelm anybody. In fact, it would help us all like stay aware of the thing that holds us all together. 24. 1, 2, 3, ready, and good, let's just catch the little tricky bit. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. Strings, can I hear you at 55? Yep, ba-da-ba-da-ba-dee-da-wee-da. Here's 55 string players. A 1, 2, 3, ready, and now. Good, except it's too quiet. That up-bow, you gotta lean in. So, river of chocolate. 1, 2, 3, 55, and. Yeah, once more. Can I borrow this cello? Yes. Now everybody just try and outdo me. Let's see, maybe I can. 1, 2, 3, ready, and up. Yeah, I'm trying to read the violin part of the cello. But, question, trumpets, can you still hear me? Okay, then you're not loud enough, strings. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, ready, set, go. And it's not just because I'm out of tune, right? Okay. Can you still hear me? Yeah, okay, they can still hear me. Try it again. Cover me up. 1, 2, 3, ready, and go. How's it now? That one definitely felt better. I felt like I was working harder, and if I managed to pop out a little bit of this extra, it was only because he wasn't playing with you. Just to tip the balance, okay? Once more, everybody, here's 55. And this is the second time, so take the second in. 1, 2, 55, ready, go.
Thank